Hello, everybody, and welcome to another NintendoFuse game chat, where today we're talking all about Bzzzt for Nintendo Switch. So, Bzzzt is a action platformer going to be released on the 19th of September. We're recording this a little early from Cinemax. And this game pretty much lets you play ZX8000. It is a tiny robot as you go through pixel art levels. There are 52 levels in the main story, with an additional 24 levels to go as bonus levels. Each level contains multiple objectives, such as collecting all the screws, beating it in a certain amount of time, and getting rewarded if you could do it all together in the same run. There's multiple difficulties, and think kind of like precision platformers with games like Super Meat Boy, but also getting extra different abilities and power ups and fun little story to go along with it. So let's go to you first, Greg. What were your thoughts with Bzzzt?
So I was very interested in the game right when it was initially announced in a previous Indie World, I think back in May or somewhere around that time frame, and I was definitely very excited to get you were able to supply us with a review copy of the game, so I already had high hopes when I dove into it at the beginning. It didn't quite like some of the precision stuff has kind of turned me off a little bit because it got a little bit too precise, especially in World 2. So I was kind of going through all the prologue levels, like, oh, this is like kind of fun, just kind of racing against like the try to beat the special times and getting the trophies. And also, I'm a collectathon type person, so I'm going after as many screws as I can. But then towards like the later end of World 1, is I feel like the difficulty was really kind of ramping up, and I didn't really feel the desire to try to take down as many of the times. And even on like the boss stage, I didn't even get all of the screws because I had a lot of difficulty with the first boss even. So like the first boss is almost like the Bowser from Super Mario Brothers 3 type boss, where you have to like go under him when he jumps super high, and then he breaks through the floor, and then you have to like survive. It's basically a survival thing as he defeats himself. So it took me easily a good like 20 some like minutes plus quite a number of tries to even get through that to begin with. It was just very difficult for me to master, just because like he does shoot some homing things that like beams at you as well that make it a little bit more difficult to dodge, and just from trying to have him jump back and forth. So the first boss definitely gave me a run for my money, and then even then, it kind of my interest kind of just dwindled there going through the second world as you get like the speed boost, and that usually makes things even more difficult to achieve times because then that makes you have to move even faster, and like some of these levels that just require such precision that it was kind of difficult for me to keep along with the timing of it, because there's like a number of obstacles that you're dodging that are either like moving up and down or like kind of cycling through, and like elevator type platforms and claws and other things that kind of you're doing some waiting, or you have to be adventurous to skip, and normally I'm one to hit the spikes or whatever the obstacles there to get the instant death. So like that part wasn't the most fun to deal with. But I did absolutely love like the pixel art graphics; those were top notch, and even the music was incredible to listen to. And even when you die and restart over, there's no blip in the music; it doesn't just keep looping this exact same part of the song. So like, the song just kept playing as if you didn't die at all, and that was definitely really appreciated. And I really enjoyed listening to the soundtrack. But like some of the difficulty part is really where I was kind of struggling with in my particular
Did
experience.
you lower the difficulty at all?
I didn't really look into doing that. I just selected like the normal mode. I'm usually one to try normal modes before jumping into super easy or even the painfully difficult. So I try to keep things right in the middle when I'm looking at things. But I guess I could look into the easier one. I don't know if that drastically changes the levels around or whatever. So I guess I can let Steve talk more into it.
Yeah, I think the difficulty just gives you more hits before you die, I think is what it is. So the game itself is not necessarily any different, but you get more lives essentially before you have to die and start all over again. And yeah, I played on very easy. I was like, I want to enjoy this entire thing, and I did. I really like this game. Like, it is a lot of fun. And in fact, I think when I first started out, I thought, I'm just going to play a couple levels, kind of get the gist of it. I don't have a whole lot of time to play. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, just one more. Just one more. Oh, okay, just one more. And then I played through the entire first world. I was like, okay, I've got to get other things done. And so when I came back to the game, I started up a different one because I went ahead and like I recorded my gameplay for the second playthrough. And so I started from the very beginning and thought I was just going to get a handful of levels under my belt. That way we have enough to kind of show you during this game chat and all that stuff. And the next thing I know, I'm beating the game. Because I just really enjoyed it a lot. There are some quirks for sure that are kind of weird at times. There are some specific precision things that could annoy you for sure. I found there was some, I don't know what it was, but the first several levels I was just trying to collect the bolts, try to get all of them, which is usually not that big of a deal in the first several levels, going through without, a flawless run, no problem at all. And then all of a sudden I would get to a specific one and I would miss the trophy time by just ever so little. And I was like, oh, this is going to be the one that I keep repeating over and over and over again until I can beat that trophy time. So it wasn't on all of them, but it was only on certain ones that I would do well in the very first run through. And like, oh, I can do that faster. I can do that faster, and it kept me coming back more and more and more. I was also thrown off a little bit when all of a sudden the gameplay just kind of changes up. So the very beginning, it's kind of you're in this warehouse kind of style thing. It's fairly compact, and then all of a sudden it opens up, and you're like, oh, this is like a platformer now, and I'm in this world. And then you go to like a 2D side scrolling shooting level out of the blue. I'm like, where did this come from? This is fun, but like it's just there and you move on. I'm like, I want more of that. And then at the end of the game, you become this spirit. I don't know, whatever it's called, but then you're like, it changes up the game altogether again, and you're like going through it. So it's really fun how it changes things up. But there's some quirks here and there. I think getting some of those power-ups are sometimes confusing. There was one specific boss that was where you had to jump on the different buttons. And that was kind of annoying because sometimes the platforms that you're on just disappeared. And you're like, oh, I got to jump to another one. And you don't know that's going to happen until it's one of those like trial and error kind of things where you play through it. Oh, that platform dropped out for me. Okay, I got to remember next time I got to jump off of that. Where's the next one coming that I can jump to, and things like that. So I doubt anybody would be able to just jump in and play this flawless run, from start to end without trial and error a little bit to learn all those different things with the game. But yeah, overall, I had a blast.
Yeah, I sat down with it. I like you. I did very easy. I wanted to enjoy my experience, and I knew that if I really enjoyed it, I would go back. And I sat down just to play. I was like, I want to play like 5 levels, and I played half the game. I played like 20 something levels, and I stopped because it was late at night, and I was like, wow, that was way better than I expected it to be. That was a lot of fun. And I came back the next day and was like, all right, I'm gonna finish this game. And I did. I finished and beat it. And I loved the changing. Like every 10 levels, it really changes and it doesn't just change for the sake of changing. Like the story actually makes sense, taking you to these different places. I loved like when getting like the double jump. Like, all right, that makes sense. And getting the dash, okay, that makes sense. And then getting like turning into the light power, I'm like, that was cool. And totally changed up the level design and made me think, all right, what do I do with it? How do I, get out different parts? And I really, really enjoyed that. And that boss with the buttons, which is the final boss. Same thing happened to me. The platform went down. I'm like, oh, I died. But I don't mind that because it was like, all right, now I need to learn. And I loved that final boss so much that I went back through. I just kept beating it, trying to do a perfect run. Because I just had fun with it. Like it wasn't hard. It was just enough challenging that I didn't feel it was anywhere near unfair. Even on a normal difficulty, I wouldn't think it was unfair. And I love that each of these levels has the different goals. So again, there's beating the target time. Every level has a target time. Every level has a certain amount of bolts to collect. But then, if you can do them in the same time, in the same run, if you get hit even once, you get a silver medal. But if you do it perfectly and you don't get hit, you get a gold medal. And you need those medals to unlock the bonus levels because, again, you're getting 24 bonus levels, and these are significantly more challenging, and these are extra. It's extra content, but it gives you an extra, besides the satisfaction of getting these gold medals and bragging rights, but you actually get an extra reward, which I think is great because if you're playing the game that way and you're really having fun, you're going to want more. So they give you more. I felt the controls were great. I think they were very responsive. I never had a problem. I never cursed. Like, like that was, if the control was tighter or better, but I felt it really operated exactly as I intended. There's this one shmup level that kind of comes out of nowhere, but again, it was fun. It was like, okay, cool. You're changing up the gameplay a little bit. A lot of these games, they can get stale. It's the same thing over and over and over. All right, I've seen this enough. I felt no level overstayed their welcome. Some of them could be beaten in 30 seconds, some a minute or whatever. And the constant changing I felt was very much welcome. I love the graphics. I love the music. Music was awesome. I honestly had a phenomenal time with this. So Greg, since you only did, I'm guessing normal, do you think you would go back and try like very easy to get those extra like hits in so that you can not have to deal with any type of difficulty and just try to enjoy?
I mean, I do think I want to try to at least revisit it because it sounds like it's a lot more lenient and you get like multiple hits. So that even
Get 5
kind of sounds.
hits on very easy.
So that's like a drastic difference because on normal you just touch a spike and it's like boom, launched back to the start, and like that's kind of like I understand like it wants you to like get everything perfect, but then I don't even know how you can even make it even harder than that. But even a number of them, like Steve, like I was just like whatever a fraction of a second off. But on some of them, like I was like I'm already doing this like it was kind of difficult just to make it through without even dying because I only have the one hit. I'm like, do I really want to play this entire level again just to beat a fraction of a second? Even though I felt because by the time I did beat some of the levels in World 2, I finally was just like already like acing the beginning of the level as I would hit a harder point like in the midway through or towards the end of the level that would cause a reset. So I am definitely interested to give like the difficulty change quite like a review of it. And I only made it to like a level I want to say like 18 or 19 or something. It's in World 2, and it was just a few levels after you get the dash ability, and it was just get kind of be overwhelming at that point where like each level was taking me like way too many tries and sucking just the time away that I was not having the best experience because it was just taking so long just to get through a level. But I understand it's all trial and error, but I wasn't, I guess, really expecting it to be absurdly difficult at even like a normal level. Like that's almost felt like it was on hard mode despite being on normal. So
It definitely sounds like if you switch to very easy to play through the levels and enjoy them, and then you could say, all right, let me see if I could do it in no hits, and then you can challenge yourself once you're more comfortable with everything.
Yeah.
Which is fun for me.
And I think that's the way I would recommend people play is on easy or very easy because you can still get a gold medal. Like I got a couple gold medals because I didn't get hit at all, and I still got all the screws, and I got all the and I got it under the time. And even though I was playing on easy, I still got the gold medal for it, and so that was cool to have that. So you can. But at the same time, like if I got hit once, oh man, I'm not restarting this whole thing. I could still progress. And because there's some levels that I'm like, I don't want to do this with just, no hits at all. Like I just want to keep on moving through this. And there's other ones that did grab me. I'm like, I can do this. I can get this. I can get through this. And that was fun. And there was one of the bonus levels that I got that I was like, I kept going. And I don't know how to do it any faster. Like I've got everything precise down to what I think is exactly what needs to be done. That's as fast as I can get it. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this faster. On top of that, we didn't talk about there's a few levels that also have multiple directions you can go. as well. So you can go, your traditional way, but you can also go an additional way that has an additional unlock, and you can get an extra thing. I think that's also what unlocks the extra levels, the bonus levels as well. So there's one pretty early on that you can go up and do the traditional route that is there, but then also you can go down, and there's a completely different level underground there as well. So there's those kind of things are fun as well. Just adds to the game. I beat it about an hour on very easy. So that's what we're looking at. So not a ton of, a whole lot of gameplay there, but I think it's sufficient for what it is, especially if you want to keep replaying it and get better and better and better. You could be playing this for hours and hours and hours and hours, but if you would just want to play through it on very easy, it's about an hour.
Yeah, it's a good length just to go through and have fun with it. But that's just going through. Now, if you want to master it and you want to play more, like there's way more than an hour's worth of gameplay here. Um, it depends just what you want to get out of it. If you're the type of person that loves these precision platformers, there's a lot you can do. And if you're even new to that genre, I feel like this is a great starting point because the very easy mode allows you to get comfortable with the game and allows you to push yourself, and even having that safety net can let you see if this is something you like. So let's talk about the game. The game does come out on the 19th, so it's $14.99. It is on sale prior to, and that sale ends on the 19th. So it ends on the day it comes out. This will go up just a little beforehand, I believe. It's on $11.99 right now, 20% off. Otherwise, it's $15. We'll go to you first, Steve. I want to see you, Steve, because I know Greg was excited for the game. You went into this no idea. Is this worth $15? Wait for a sale or pass?
I think it's a good game. I really enjoy it. For $15, like I really like the $11.99 sale that they're running right now. I feel like that's really good price. That between $10-$12 is a really, really good price. 15 stretching it if this kind of a thing might annoy you, then maybe you want to wait for a sale. But for everyone else, yeah, go get it. Like it's a great game. Like we said, the gameplay is good, the music's good, the graphics are good. It's a fun experience. There's varied difficulty levels there for everyone. But yeah, maybe if you're hold off for the sale. When it goes on sale, grab it. But for everyone else, for sure, go get it.
I know I might not have gave it the best light because I played on a harder difficulty, but I think what they do have here is still a really great game. Like as Barry said, the controls are very fluid, and if you really want like just a simple like go through the game, like you can easily do that on the easiest difficulty for both of what you guys had described. So I would think that it's pretty much worth like the asking price, and obviously anything that's at a sale makes it even better, especially if you're one that likes the platforming type genre, and even some of the ones that kind of push you to do more speedy like tactics. It could be for you. I mean, that's a completely optional thing. You don't have to do the speed if you don't really want to, but I think after you go through the first like world where they really do a good job of introducing everything, then we may feel more inclined to go back and defeat those time just to get those extra trophies and further challenge yourself further. I think that's helps give it more of the charm and even some of the extra replay value to make it more justified the price, because every time you start the level, you're not going to ace it the first time around either. So I do think it's worth the asking price. And again, anything that's on sale is just extra money that you're saving.
I'm going to echo that. I think it's worth the $15. I think if you are somebody who enjoys platforming games, 2D platforming games, I think there's a lot of game in here for you. And it's not like this daunting adventure. It's something that not only can it be beaten, like Steve said, in around an hour on the easiest difficulty, but to come back and master it, it's something you could just like pick up and play. I'm going to do a one or two levels and try to like get the gold medals, and that might spur you one more. And remember, there are 52 levels to do that with on the main story, with an additional 24. That's 76 total levels in the game. and that's a good chunk, and they're very varied. It's not like doing the same level over and over and over again. And some of these are very, very well crafted. They've got some unique puzzles. Definitely the first run, you got to think what's the best strategy, how best path to go through, and I think that trying to tackle it, and if you say I'm going to go for all the gold, and you're really going to shoot for it, you can easily get a good 10 hours or so out of this game, depending on how good you are. So because of that, because of just how everything else excels, the controls, the music, I do think it's worth the $15. We do want to once again thank Cinemax for providing us with review codes. Again, this comes out September 19th for the Switch. So if you enjoy game chats like this, please go to NintendoFuse.com as well as our YouTube page here, youtube.com/NintendoFuse, for more game chats just like this, as well as our bi-weekly podcast, industry talk, interviews, and a bunch of other content. Steve, Greg, I'd like to thank you both for joining me today for this review. And as always, we'll see you next time.